Admiral John Carter's face turned pale as he stared at the alien message on the big screen. The words were simple but scary. Give up Earth to the Galactic Council or die. This was the first time humans had ever talked to aliens, and it wasn't friendly. Sir, they gave us 2 days to answer, said Lisa Harmon, who worked at the communications desk. Her voice was calm, but her hands shook slightly. Carter took a deep breath. The pieces of the puzzle now fit together. 6 months ago, they had seen strange things at the edge of our solar system. 3 months ago, Earth's space probes stopped sending signals. 1 month ago, the Mars base went silent. Now they knew why. Call the president, Carter said. 1 hour later, leaders from all countries met online to talk about the threat. The alien fleet had ships from 12 different alien types, all part of something they called the Galactic Council. President Samantha Wells spoke to the emergency United Nations meeting with a steady voice. We checked their technology. It's better than ours. Their weapons could destroy our cities easily. Defense Secretary Paul Garcia frowned. They've put their ships in positions to hit all our major cities at once. Our defenses can't stop them all. But there's something strange about their demand, said Dr. Alan Wright, who had figured out the alien language. They just want us to give up. They don't say what happens after that. They don't want to talk or make deals. Intelligence Director Natalie Foster spoke up. We caught some messages between their ships. They don't all agree on this plan. Some alien groups seem worried about attacking us. And we've seen weird energy patterns from their fleet, added Kevin Mitchell, the science expert. Their ships look powerful, but the energy doesn't flow right. President Wells's face got serious. So they think we'll just give up without even talking? Yes, Madam President, Carter said. Their message shows they think we're too backward to talk to as equals. They don't know humans very well then, Wells said with narrow eyes. Let's make 2 plans. The public one where we ask for peace talks and time to think, and the real one. The real plan was called Operation Trojan Shield. While Earth publicly asked for peace and acted like it might surrender, all countries secretly got their militaries ready. Secret military technology that had been hidden for decades to prevent arms races was now quickly being prepared for use. The Galactic Council didn't know that humans had been getting ready for this since 1947, when a crashed alien ship at Roswell proved aliens were real. The technology from that crash had started a secret research program that lasted for generations. When they had just 1 hour left before the deadline, Earth sent its public answer. A humble request for talks and more time to get ready to join. The galactic community. The aliens answered right away. No extra time, no talks. Submit or die. As the deadline passed, the alien ships moved into attack positions. Their energy weapons powered up, aiming at major cities all over Earth. But they had a big surprise coming. Unknown to the aliens, Earth had been building secret weapons in hidden places around the planet. Military bases deep under the ocean. Inside, mountains and buried in deserts housed technology far beyond what the public knew existed. For decades, the world's top scientists had worked in secret to reverse engineer the alien technology from Roswell. They had made breakthroughs in energy shields, gravity control, and weapons that could disable but not destroy. While the public saw only routine space missions and satellite launches, the world's governments had been putting advanced defense platforms in orbit, disguised as weather satellites and communications arrays. These platforms had remained powered down, invisible to all but the most sensitive scans. President Wells watched from the underground command center as the final preparations were made. Around her, military officers and civilian leaders worked, with quiet efficiency. There was fear in the room, but also determination. All defense systems ready, Madam President, reported General Sam Dixon from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Orbital platforms are charging up, but staying in stealth mode. Ground-based shield generators are at full power, added Colonel Mary Grant. Major population centers now have coverage. Wells nodded. And the special weapons? Defense Secretary Garcia checked his tablet. EMP cannons are charged and targeted. Quantum disruptors are spinning up. Drone swarms are loaded and ready for launch. What about the civilian evacuation? Wells asked. Proceeding under cover of the civil defense drill we announced yesterday, Garcia replied. About 40% of critical population centers have been moved to the hardened shelters. Wells walked to the large window overlooking the command floor where hundreds of personnel monitored systems and communicated with bases worldwide. This would be humanity's most important moment, its first real test against the stars. They think we're primitives with simple rockets and basic weapons, she said, quietly. They expect us to beg for mercy. They're in for quite a shock, Carter said, coming to stand beside her. Wells turned to face the room full of humanity's defenders. Let them fire the first shot. Let history record that we didn't start this fight. Her voice grew stronger. But make damn sure we finish it. As the alien fleet's weapons reached full power, targeting systems locked onto Earth's cities. The Galactic Council commanders felt only contempt for the primitive world below. In their long history of conquering developing worlds, resistance was rare and quickly crushed. But as their fingers moved to launch the first attack, hidden sensors in Earth's orbit detected the energy spike. Automatic systems, designed for just this moment, sprang to life. They never saw the first counterattack coming. Commander Vrax of the Taurian Empire sat in his big chair on the main alien ship. He felt very sure they would win easily. The humans had responded just like all the other weak planets they had conquered before, begging for more time and sounding scared. These humans are just like the others, Vrax said to his second-in-command. They have simple rockets and basic weapons. They'll give up as soon as we fire the first shot. Vrax was already writing his victory report when suddenly his sensor officer jumped up from his seat. Sir, energy detected. Many places on the planet's surface and in orbit too? Vrax frowned. That's not possible. Earth has no real space weapons. Our teams are already shutting down their simple satellites. But the readings on the screen didn't lie. All around Earth, hidden weapons were showing themselves. Under the oceans, in the deserts, and under the ice at the poles, human military tech was coming to life. Huge gun arrays rose from hidden bunkers. What had looked like weather satellites suddenly changed shape, showing weapon systems that shouldn't exist on Earth. How can this be? Vrax said in shock. Our report said they were still a basic civilization. Earth's first attack wasn't meant to destroy, it was a warning shot. Carefully aimed electromagnetic pulses hit the outer alien scout ships, turning off their systems without hurting anyone inside. The message was clear. We can hit you anytime we want. In the White House underground room, President Wells watched, with her military leaders as the first phase worked perfectly. First attack successful, said General Frank Miller with a small smile. Their shields weren't ready for our special energy type. The Roswell technology helped us just like we thought it would. How are they reacting? Wells asked. They seem confused. They're trying to regroup and probably wondering how we have such advanced weapons. Secretary Garcia moved closer to the table. We should attack again now while they're confused. Wells shook her head. No. We follow the plan exactly. Open a communication line to their main ship. On the biggest alien warship, Commander Vrax got a message request from Earth. Though it broke the rules, his curiosity was too strong, and he accepted the call. President Wells looked straight at him, no longer acting humble or weak. This is President Samantha Wells of Earth. Your attack on our planet has been met with a careful response. We can do much more. I suggest you think again about attacking us. Vrax got angry at the human's bold words. Your little tricks mean nothing. We have the power of 12 advanced alien civilizations. Give up or be destroyed. Wells gave a small smile. I was hoping you'd say that. I think you need a better demonstration. She nodded to someone off-screen. All around Earth, Phase 2 of Operation Trojan Shield started. The quantum disruption devices, technology rebuilt from the Roswell spaceship, all fired at once. The strange particles they sent out didn't hurt living things, but they completely broke the alien fleet's communication systems. Now each ship was alone, cut off from the others. On his ship, Commander Vrax watched in horror as all his communication systems failed at the same time. The Council's battle plan depended on all ships being able to talk to each other instantly. Without that, Their careful attack plan fell apart into separate ships with no coordination. Before they could fix the problem, Earth launched its third attack. Drone swarms, thousands of small, fast-flying robots, came out of hidden places, all over Earth. Each drone wasn't very powerful by itself, but there were so many that the aliens couldn't shoot them all down. The drones aimed at the engines and weapons of the alien ships with perfect accuracy, disabling but not destroying the Council warships. In just half an hour, half of the invasion fleet was floating helplessly in space. "This can't be happening," Vrax whispered as he watched his powerful fleet being disabled by what he thought was a simple, weak species. The face of President Wells appeared again on his screen. "Now you see, Commander. We are not as helpless as you thought. Would you like to talk about those diplomatic relations I mentioned earlier?" Earth's counterattack had worked better than anyone had expected. In underground bunkers across the planet, military commanders watched in amazement as their secret weapons performed even better than in tests. "Look at those drones go," exclaimed Colonel Betty White at the North American Defense Command. "They're slicing through the alien defenses like they're not even there." The drone swarms had been humanity's most closely guarded secret. Each one was the size of a small bird, but contained artificial intelligence more advanced than anything publicly known. They moved in perfect coordination, adapting their tactics instantly based on the aliens' responses. At the underwater base in the Pacific, Admiral Henry Jackson monitored the quantum disruptors with satisfaction. Perfect frequency match, their quantum communications are completely scrambled. The quantum technology had been the biggest breakthrough from the Roswell craft. For 75 years, scientists had worked to understand the alien quantum communication system. 6 years ago, they finally cracked it and immediately began working on how to disrupt it. Back in the White House, President Wells kept her face calm as she spoke with Commander Vrax, but inside she felt both relief and pride. The plan was working. When the call ended, she turned to her advisors. "They're stunned, but they still have weapons. Prepare for Phase 4. "Yes, Madam President," said General Miller. "The Space Force units are ready for boarding operations." This was the riskiest part of the plan. Earth's specially trained space marines would board the disabled alien vessels to capture their technology intact. It was dangerous work, but essential for the long-term strategy. As the boarding teams launched from hidden bases, Commander Vrax tried desperately to restore order to his fleet. Half his ships couldn't move or fight back. The others were having trouble with their targeting systems after the human drones had damaged key sensors. "This is impossible," he said to his bridge crew. "How could we be so wrong about their capabilities?" His weapons officer looked up from a screen with fear in his eyes. "Sir, we're detecting more launches from Earth. Small craft. They appear to be heading directly toward our disabled vessels." Vrax realized what was happening. "They're going to board our ships. All vessels with functioning weapons target those boarding craft immediately." But the remaining alien ships found their targeting systems mysteriously jammed. Earth had kept one more surprise in reserve: advanced electronic warfare capabilities that confused and redirected the aliens' targeting computers. The first human boarding team reached an alien scout ship. Captain Jane Wilson led her squad through the alien airlock, weapons ready. "Remember your training," she told her team over the comm. "Non-lethal force when possible. We want prisoners and intact technology." The aliens, never expecting to be boarded by a primitive species, had little close combat training. Within 20 minutes, the first ship was under human control. One by one, the disabled alien vessels fell to the boarding teams. Commander Vrax watched helplessly as the carefully planned invasion turned into a humiliating defeat. "We need to retreat," his executive officer said quietly. "While we still can." Vrax knew he was right but couldn't bring himself to give the order. Retreat was unheard of in Council operations, especially from a low-tech world. "Then, President," Wells called again. This time her expression was deadly serious. "Commander Vrax, I'm offering you one chance. Withdraw your remaining vessels immediately, or we will be forced to demonstrate our offensive capabilities. Unlike our previous attacks, the next one won't be designed to spare lives." Looking at the determined face of the human leader, Vrax finally understood. They had catastrophically underestimated this species. Very well, President Wells. We will withdraw to discuss these unexpected developments. As the remaining alien ships prepared to retreat, Wells allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had shown its teeth, and the galaxy would never see Earth the same way again. The alien ships that could still move quickly flew to the dark side of Earth's moon. They needed to hide and try to call their home planets. What was supposed to be an easy win had turned into a big disaster. 7 of their 24 big ships couldn't move at all, floating helplessly in Earth orbit. Another 5 had bad damage to their weapons or engines. Most worrying of all was how the humans had fought back. They had carefully avoided killing alien crew members, focusing instead on just shutting down their technology. This showed either that humans had very precise weapons or, more scary for the aliens, that humans understood alien technology better than they should. On the backup command ship, leaders from the 12 alien species were arguing loudly with each other. The humans must have been given advanced technology by someone, said Ambassador Kelg of the Proxima Coalition, his blue skin turning pale with worry. No species figures out quantum disruption before they can travel between stars. It's not the normal way technology develops. Maybe they caught one of our scout ships in the past, suggested Commander Lorax of the Centauri Alliance. Our intelligence reports said there was strange activity in their area several of their decades ago. No matter how they got these abilities, interrupted High Minister Jackson of the Pleiades Republic, we must accept that our first assessment was completely wrong. They are not simple primitives ready for harvesting. They are warriors who were ready for us. The alien leaders got another shock when Earth somehow started direct communication with each of the 12 homeworlds, completely bypassing the invasion fleet. Humans had apparently figured out how to use the aliens' own communication systems and frequencies. On Earth, Secretary of State Greg Hudson was leading the diplomatic attack. While President Wells handled the military response, Hudson put together a team of Earth's best negotiators, psychologists, and game theory experts. Our big advantage is that the Council isn't really united, Hudson explained during a strategy meeting. From the messages we've caught, at least 4 of the 12 species didn't want to invade us in the first place. 3 more only joined, because they were afraid they would be attacked themselves if they said no. Dr. Elena Martinez, the head psychologist for Alien Minds, nodded. The Council seems to be controlled by 3 aggressive species who bully the others into doing what they want. If we can break up that alliance, we can isolate the ones who really want to hurt us. Hudson's team made special messages for each alien homeworld. To the peaceful species, they showed how humans had been careful not to kill and were ready to make friendly alliances. To the neutral powers, they showed Earth's surprising military strength and suggested the benefits of being friends. To the aggressive ones, they simply showed detailed targeting plans for their home cities, a clear message that Earth could reach far beyond the solar system. The response was quick and dramatic. The Pleiades Republic and Centauri Alliance, 2 of the more forward-thinking council members, publicly said the invasion was wrong and called their ships back home. The Proxima Coalition, while not pulling out completely, declared they would no longer fight in this conflict. Within 12 hours, half of the council forces had backed down. Commander Vrax watched in disbelief as his Grand Alliance fell apart. This has never happened before, he growled to his second-in-command. No species has ever divided the council like this, especially not on their first contact. Perhaps that's because we've never met anyone quite like humans before, his officer replied carefully. Back on Earth, President Wells received updates on the quickly changing situation with grim satisfaction. They're breaking apart exactly as we predicted, she told her National Security Council. Now for Phase 4. Phase 4 of Operation Trojan Shield was perhaps the boldest move yet. While the Council forces were in confusion, Earth launched a small, hard-to-detect ship toward the center of Council space. On board was a diplomatic team led by Special Envoy Ryan Parker, but their true mission was much more than diplomacy. They carried detailed evidence of Council crimes against other developing worlds. Information collected from decades of secret observation using technology that even the Council didn't know humans had. Parker's team would show this evidence to the Council General Assembly, revealing the corruption at the heart of the organization. But first, Earth needed to make sure that the immediate threat was completely neutralized. All captured alien vessels. Secure, Madam President, reported Admiral Carter. Our engineering teams are already studying their systems. What have we learned? Wells asked. Defense Secretary Garcia checked his tablet. The good news is that their technology isn't as advanced as they claim. Much of it is copied from older civilizations they conquered. They don't fully understand how it all works. That explains the power distribution issues we detected, said Science Advisor Mitchell. They're using systems they didn't build themselves. The really interesting finding, Garcia continued, is that there are at least 15 other developing worlds like Earth marked for harvesting in their databases. The Council's main business seems to be finding worlds just before they develop. Space travel, conquering them, and taking their resources. President Wells frowned. So we're not the first, but we're the first to fight back successfully? It appears so, ma'am, Carter said. And that's caused a major political crisis in their alliance. Wells stood up and walked to the big world map, on the wall. Small lights showed where Earth forces were now positioned around the globe and in orbit. The situation had changed so much in just a few days. Send a message to Commander Vrax, she ordered. Tell him we're ready to discuss terms for their surrender. On the moon base that the remaining Council forces were using as a temporary headquarters, the alien leaders continued to argue about what to do next. We should call for reinforcements and crush them completely, insisted War Master Hork of the Draconian Empire, one of the 3 aggressive species that controlled the Council. With what ships? Asked High Minister Jackson. Half our fleet has left and humans control many of our remaining vessels. I say we negotiate. Negotiate with primitives? Unthinkable. Hork slammed his fist on the table. Ambassador Kelg looked nervous. It's not just about this battle anymore. The humans have contacted our homeworlds. They've shown them evidence of certain Council activities that were supposed to be secret. What activities? Demanded Hork. The biological harvesting operations, Kelg said quietly. The ones where we take resources from pre-spaceflight civilizations. The ones that break our own Council laws. The room went silent. Those operations were the Council's most closely guarded secret. Illegal even by their own rules, but very profitable for the ruling species. The humans couldn't possibly know about those, Hork said. But he sounded uncertain. They do, said Commander Lorax. They've sent full details to every Council member world. There are already protests on 6 planets. As if on cue, a communication came in from the Draconian homeworld. War Master Hork's face turned a pale green as he listened to the message. My government has recalled me for consultation, he said, slowly. They say we must avoid further conflict with Earth until the situation is fully assessed. One by one, similar messages came in for the other commanders. Within hours, the once unified invasion force had completely fallen apart. Meanwhile, Parker's diplomatic ship was approaching the Council's central world. Hidden in its database was enough evidence to bring down the corrupt leadership that had ruled the galaxy for centuries. Earth was not just defending itself. It was about to reshape the political landscape of the entire galaxy. On Earth, President Wells addressed the United Nations again. The immediate threat has been contained, she announced. But our work has just begun. We have discovered a galaxy more dangerous and corrupt than we imagined. And we have also discovered that humanity is stronger than we knew. She paused, looking at the faces of world leaders. We were meant to be just another conquered world. Instead, we will become the force that reforms the stars. 3 days after the failed invasion, representatives from all 12 alien species gathered in Earth's orbit for emergency talks. The humans, showing both confidence and smart thinking, had insisted the meeting happen within range of Earth's defense weapons. The big meeting room on the alien diplomatic ship felt different now. Species that had ruled countless worlds now sat across from humans who had not only stopped their attack, but had done so with technology that shocked the aliens. President Wells led the Earth team herself, with military and science advisors beside. Hershey spoke with calm authority to the gathered aliens. "Let me be clear about Earth's position," she began. "We don't want revenge for your unprovoked attack. However, we will not accept any future attacks against our world or our interests. Our terms are simple: formal recognition that Earth is independent, payment for damage to our Mars colony, and a complete change in how humanity is ranked in your classification system." Ambassador Kelg of the Proxima Coalition leaned forward. "And if we don't accept these terms?" Wells smiled slightly. "Then please look at screen 3. All the aliens turned to the large display screen where they could see Earth's captured alien vessels. But what alarmed them wasn't the ships themselves. It was that humans had already begun taking apart and improving the alien technology. "In the short time since your attack," Wells continued, "our engineers have not only figured out how your engines work, but made them about 22% better. We've also created defenses against every weapon your fleet used against us." The message was clear. If pushed, Earth could quickly become not just a defensive power but an attacking one. High Minister Jackson of the Pleiades Republic was the first to break the stunned silence. "Madam President, your species has shown abilities that frankly scare us. The speed with which you've adapted our technology suggests either previous knowledge or an amazing talent for reverse engineering." "Perhaps both," Wells replied mysteriously. "Or perhaps your council has simply underestimated what determination and the threat of extinction can inspire in a species." As the talks went on, it became increasingly clear that the council's united front had been permanently broken. The more progressive members saw potential in being friends with Earth, while the traditionalists feared what would happen if other planets followed Earth's example of successful resistance. Meanwhile, Special Envoy Parker's mission to the Council homeworlds was working even better than expected. The evidence of corruption and illegal harvesting of pre-spaceflight civilizations had started widespread protests across multiple Council worlds. 3 planetary governments had already fallen, with their leaders facing trial for crimes against other species. By the end of the week, the galactic political landscape had completely changed. The Galactic Council, once a single powerful group that had ruled without challenge for thousands of years, was now split into 3 distinct factions: the Reformists, who wanted alliance with Earth, the Conservatives, who wanted to stay away from the dangerous humans, and the Traditionalists, who still, secretly, planned revenge. Earth, for its part, wasted no time in establishing its new position. President Wells authorized the creation of the Earth Defense Fleet, ships combining human innovation with adapted alien technology. These vessels began setting up a protective zone around not just Earth, but several nearby star systems with developing civilizations that had been marked for Council harvesting. In her speech to the United Nations after signing the Galactic Non-Aggression Pact, President Wells reflected on humanity's new reality. "For centuries we wondered if we were alone in the universe. Now we know we are not, and we also know that space can be dangerous. But today marks a turning point. We have shown that humanity will not bow to intimidation or aggression, no matter where it comes from. We have shown that technological advancement without ethical foundation is inherently weak." She paused, looking across the assembly of world leaders. "The attempt to conquer Earth has failed, but more importantly, it has revealed a path forward, a future where humanity stands not just as defenders of our world, but as protectors of the principle that all intelligent life deserves the chance to determine its own future." In the months that followed, Earth's influence in galactic affairs grew rapidly. The technology captured from the invasion fleet accelerated human development by at least a century. Soon, Earth ships were exploring nearby star systems, establishing diplomatic relations with other species, and providing protection to less developed worlds. The first human embassy on an alien world opened 6 months after the invasion attempt. Ambassador Hudson represented Earth at the ceremony on the Pleiades, capital world. "This marks a new chapter in human history," he said as he cut the ribbon, "from isolation to becoming a galactic civilization in less than a year." The humans who ventured into space found a galaxy far different than they had imagined. There were wonders beyond counting. beautiful worlds with strange life forms, ancient ruins of civilizations millions of years old, and natural phenomena that defied Earth science. But they also found darkness. The Council's corrupt practices had left deep scars across many worlds. Species had been exploited, cultures destroyed, and resources stolen. The more humans learned about the Council's history, the more determined they became to help reform it. On the first anniversary of the invasion attempt, a special meeting was held at the new Galactic Council headquarters. The old, corrupt leadership had been removed, replaced by representatives chosen fairly from all member species. Earth had been granted full membership, with Admiral Carter serving as humanity's first council representative. "We gather today to mark not just the failed invasion of Earth," announced the new council president, High Minister Jackson, "but the beginning of a new era for our galactic community. The reforms suggested by Earth have been implemented across council space. No longer will we prey on developing worlds. Instead, we will nurture and protect them until they are ready to join us as equals." Admiral Carter stepped to the podium next. "On behalf of Earth, I thank the Council for embracing change. The path hasn't been easy, but it has been necessary. Together we face a future brighter than any one species could create alone." Back on Earth, President Wells watched the ceremony on a live feed from her office. Defense Secretary Garcia stood beside her. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when we first saw those alien ships, Madam President?" Garcia asked. Wells smiled. "Not in the details, no, but I always believed that humanity had something special to offer the galaxy. We just needed the chance to show it." Garcia nodded. "The Council scientists are still trying to figure out how we developed quantum disruption technology so early. Should we ever tell them the truth? That we didn't have it until 3 days before their invasion? That our scientists made the breakthrough at the last possible moment?" Wells laughed. "Let's keep that our little secret for now. Sometimes, reputation is more powerful than reality. In the galactic records, Earth was given a new classification: protected sovereignty with defensive capability exceeding classification metrics. In simpler terms across the galaxy, the rating was, do not provoke. Humanity had entered the galactic stage not with humble steps, but with a definitive statement. Earth would not be conquered, and the universe would never be the same. The end.